All right, let's get more on this from Lara Friedman, who's the president of the Foundation for Middle East Peace. Lara, our correspondent there just did a report from an Israeli rally for Israelis that are against the annexation because they believe that it's going to fuel regional tensions and also that it's going to hurt economically. Where do you think public support is for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plans to annex parts of the West Bank?
So, if we want to try to get a sense of what public support is, there's lots of polling out there. I mean, we don't have to guess, we can look at the polls. And what the polls show is somewhat, it should be in some ways encouraging if you oppose annexation, and also somewhat dispiriting, because what it shows is that most Israelis don't support annexation. But generally speaking, most Israelis don't care. So if Israelis have a feeling about it in general, they're not supportive for all sorts of self-interested reasons. Bad for Israel, bad for the economy, bad for relations with Gulf countries or with Europe, which, by the way, as a framing is a little bit troubling, because you would hope that people would be against annexation because it's also wrong what it does to the Palestinians. It's illegal under international law, and it codifies and cements an immoral situation of Israeli dominance over the Palestinian people. But regardless, the vast majority of Israelis don't seem to care enough to get up and go out to these. If you look at the visual in front of you right now, it's not a huge demonstration. And it's a demonstration that is months, if not years, too late probably to have much impact.
Lara, Trump administration officials are going to be meeting later this week to discuss Netanyahu's plans for annexation. That will include the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and the president's advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who we know has been one of the key architects of the president's Middle East peace plan. Is Netanyahu waiting for the green light for this administration to proceed with these plans? And is this administration going to give it to him?
There's a lot of speculation on what influences the timing here. It is, I think it is not a reach to suggest that Netanyahu is basing his timing, at least in part, if not in large part, on the Trump administration. The Trump administration, though, is far out ahead of the Israeli public and the Israeli government on annexation. If you think about it, the Trump plan for peace was a plan for annexation, right? Even before it was formally so much a part of the Israeli discourse, it was the plan offered by the U.S. president. The question really is, what timing does President Trump feel best suits his needs, whether it's his electoral needs or the desire to shift focus from what's happening with COVID or with the protests. It seems to me there is no question that the Trump administration plans to give a green light. They've already given a green light. That is the Trump peace plan. That was the green light. The question of time, of when exactly you pull the trigger, and whether it's a gradual thing, a stage thing, that's really more a question of how, not whether. And if it's a question of when, then it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Lara Friedman with the Foundation for Middle East Peace. Thanks for being with us.